So the attention is on MGK right now, and let's talk about what's getting ready to happen. I think this year could turn out extremely well for him if he can pull off this sophomore album and not disappear afterwards. That's kind of the big thing. And then if he drops a mixtape after that, it could really be, he could get to it. So Machine Gun Kelly, he's one of the rappers that came up in the 2010s decade, and Wiz Khalifa is, I think he's a little bit bigger than him, but I do think he's pretty much like beneath the radar type guy. I mean, he was at the Gathering of the Juggalos this year, and just some of these guys are making waves, but they're not necessarily commercial rap. So I'm glad for that. Like first, he, he's just kind of making waves, but it's not like, breaking into trying to, just not EDM type stuff. You can tell the difference. Some of the stuff that he's gonna say, he has an interesting character, and some of the stuff that you hear from him is probably gonna be more interesting than just standard rapper A on commercial radio song A, because I think a lot of you can realize that sometimes it just is really candy coated and it's just a little bit too saccharine. I don't know how to say it, but which means too sweet. So yeah, this album or this mixtape is really, it's not perfect, but it has more numbers on it than a standard mixtape usually does. And so I figured, why not give it a review? Now, it's basically like Juicy J's Blue Dream and Lean 2, has about the same number of hits. It's got 14 songs, and I'd probably say about 6 or 7 of them are good. And yeah, I mean, it's something. It's got enough for you to jam out to, and it's also just like a miniature nighttime album, which is something that I like to put emphasis on, is just the stuff if you're just hanging out at night somewhere out in the forest doing something, and like, you are kicking it, these are just some songs that you'd be able to listen to. So yeah, what I thought about this release is, I like MGK, but the amount of things that I wanted to hear from him did not complete a full project. So I know that he's probably, he's lived interestingly, he's got stuff to say, he can spit fast, but can he make a solid project? And that's kind of where things are going. There's been musicians before who are likable, but when it comes to making albums, they may not be the most, top notch. And I think that's pretty much it. So he wins when it comes to just you liking him and saying, like, this guy is one of the slicker people that you're going to know. But that doesn't mean that every song is like a knockout. And I'm not just trying to find a weakness. I mean, if you listen to this project, you're going to notice, like, well, why doesn't the Skate Can song sound as good as, like, Peso and Street Dreams? These are some fire ones, Mind of a Stoner, but I don't know. I mean, I don't really care. It's not so much that I'm looking for a perfect album. I don't want people to think I'm just like, oh, I need perfect and I have super high standards, because I really don't. I try to emphasize that a lot, just letting people know I can listen to something that's really bad and not give a shit and still find good songs on it. This is not one of those releases, so don't think it is. But can you smoke to this? Yes, you can. I think Black Tuxedo, Diamonds and Gold, Peso, Breaking News, Street Dreams. These are some good songs to smoke to. Definitely. The production, this is pretty much what I was looking for, and about a little bit less than half of this project has good production. There is an almost song on here that we'll talk about. So the unheard songs are Breaking News, unheard, like Breaking News, Peso, Black Tuxedo, Mind of a Stoner, Diamonds and Gold, and Street Dreams. Now, those are all songs that if you haven't listened to, those are the ones to go to first. And also, there's a song that was close, but it was, it was a little bit mellower than probably would have been good. Home Soon. That one was a close one. But yeah, this is, this works as a mixtape. Let's keep that in mind. So, I am going to recommend this, of course, but I'm going to give it like a 5 out of 10. I'm just going to give it a 5 out of 10 because, 6 out of 14, needs work, but at the same time, like, it's likable, and it has that likability, and I know, like, if he just made, like, similar songs to the best songs on this release, it probably would have been top notch. Like, there's just people who are good at doing this, and some of these guys that have the capability of making, like, these monster weekend albums and just just party releases. That's good. We need that. I felt like LMFAO was someone who was really close to that if they wouldn't have diminished, but we do need more people able to do that. So I'm sure if you're looking for, like, depth beyond just something to smoke to, you'll also probably find something, but I will say that things kind of take emphasis off of that. So you can tell the better songs from the other ones. So, but yeah, so I give this album a 5. MGK is going to drop an album soon. I'm going to listen to it, don't worry. Is this album social? So, my thoughts is, he's someone that I'm thinking people like, and he's probably more, if you look at someone like Paul Wall or Riff Raff or someone, Riff Raff is kind of that way too, but, I do think he's trending with certain rap crowds right now, which is, so I'll probably give him like a 6.5 social, just because the whole release is not that good, but if he really has like a following right now, it's probably something good. So yeah, so can it be topped? Yeah, but we'll see what happens. So I give this album, this mixtape, a 5 and a 6.5 social.